Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to Trip Talks. This is a show where I interview successful e commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders, and ask them questions about their business story, and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today I'm really excited to welcome Louisa Mesquita Bakker to the show. Louisa is the founder of Funky Fat Foods. Funky Fat Foods creates high fat, no crap, nutritious snacks. And today I'm going to ask Louisa a few questions about her entrepreneurial journey and some of the strategies and tactics that she has used to start and grow her business. So thank you so much for joining me today at Trip Talk, Louisa. I really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very looking forward to this call.
So I know you were sharing a little bit, before the interview that you're, very involved in health and healthy lifestyle. Can you share a little bit about your business and how your business is helping promote that for people?
Yes, so I started Funky Fat Foods 4 years ago already. And this was because I was diagnosed a few years ago with PCOS and polycystic ovary syndrome. And the most things that I could find based on my own research, because my doctors back then didn't advise me on following any type of diet. The only thing I've heard was, oh, you should just take birth control and then your hormones will be fine. But I wanted to do it the natural way. So I did a lot of research and I came across several American doctors, actually, such as Dr. Burke and Dr. McCullough. And then I read that a keto or low carb approach would be ideal for people having PCOS. So when I started that, I loved directly the benefits that I got from for my energy and hormones, but I couldn't find a chocolate bar that would fit into this lifestyle, because most chocolate bars back then had a lot of fillers, soy, and wouldn't stabilize your blood sugars or would it stabilize your hormones. So this is something that I just felt like I need to do something with this, because probably many other women, but also people with diabetes, would love to eat chocolates that doesn't spike insulin, that doesn't kick them out of ketosis, no blood sugar spikes, but it's also just perfect for someone who really wants to eat chocolates that have, for example, problems with lactose. So when I started this, I already realized, wow, I want to really focus on making a functional chocolate bar. And that's going back to why we kind of started this, also because it's all about helping people live a healthy, nutritious, but also most importantly, an enjoyable lifestyle, right? You don't want to feel hungry all the time. You don't want to feel stressed. And it should be a lifestyle rather than just a quick fix or like a crash thing. And then we don't want to create snacks that is just for a limited, like a crash diet or something like that. It's really just to add, not to replace, but really just to add to your healthy lifestyle.
So that's very interesting. So your chocolate bar, it's, as I said in the introduction, it's high fat, right? And yes. I've heard there's many different kinds of diet, as you said, there's low carb diet, there's, high fat, there's high protein. And a lot of the times, when I go out to the market to find a protein bar or something, I'm looking for high protein, because I'm a vegetarian, so I need more protein, but a lot of people who work out and things like that are looking for high protein. Can you share a little bit about what's the difference, and is it really that this is specifically for people who are following a certain kind of diet regimen, in addition to the ailment that you were having, and how is it different from a high protein bar versus what is what is the ecosystem of all the different kind of bars out there?
So for our first product, the Funky Fat Shock, is all focused for anyone following or loves to follow a healthy lifestyle. It doesn't mean that you have to follow a keto diet, because any chocolate sugar candy bar, if you can replace it with our chocolate, you're the way to go. Because healthy fats will not only give sustainable energy, it's good for your hormones. We need fat to thrive, and we need actually way more healthy fats during our diets. I would never say exclude protein, because protein is essential, but healthy fats is something that's super important just to add into your daily diet. And then on top of that, if you are suffering from PCOS, or if you follow a keto lifestyle, then this is just something that is just right up your alley, because it's something that people are looking for when they are starting a diet, because then you're kind of limited in the things that you can eat. So I'm always saying like, oh, then it would be amazing to eat the funky fat choc, but it's also really for people that are actually eating maybe too much sugar, and replace that already. Just replace a few of your candy snacks. If you already can replace that for a chocolate bar from funky fat choc, I think that's already the way to go.
And your bars don't have any sugar, or they have low sugar? Does it still taste sweet, or?
Yes, so our chocolate doesn't have any sugar. It's completely organic, and we add extra MCT into the chocolate, which is a fatty acid also found in coconut oil, and it basically absorbs directly in the liver. So you basically get an instant energy boost.
And so when you started this business, can you walk me through, or take me, in the beginning phases? So you had this idea that you can create this bar and you can help people with this. What were some of the first steps that you took to really bring this idea to the market?
So the first steps really was to, I was back then in Brazil when I started to research the cacao industry. I found out at an early stage when I was doing more research about the type of cacao that I wanted to work with, that the moment when you add a lot of fillers, milk, soy with the chocolate, you actually lose the antioxidants of the cacao, which is super important because cacao is so healthy, and a lot of people associate chocolates with unhealthy, but it's not chocolate that's unhealthy. It's really the sugars and all the things that is unneeded. If this is added into the chocolate, that makes the chocolate unhealthy. So this is number one for me, was, okay, what type of ingredients am I going to add into this chocolate bar to not only lose the antioxidant, to make it a functional chocolate bar? And I, of course, had the criteria of not raising blood sugar spikes. So it has to also has no artificial ingredients, no sugar. And it was challenging, but thank God, really there's so much, and thank God to technology, because there's so much knowledge today on the internet to find out about ingredients, and people are so helpful through LinkedIn, and if you share your ideas, a lot of people here, little by little, in Spain we say poco a poco, little by little people are helping you out. So this was super nice to eventually come up to the ingredients that we have, or that we're using today in our chocolate bars. So when I've had the ingredients in place, then was the moment when we were able to make small samples. First, it was just at home, seeing what type of ingredients fit well together. I experimented with stevia. Then I wanted to have monk fruit, but then monk fruit was not allowed in Europe. So it was in the beginning a little bit of a hustle. And when I kind of had the idea of the ingredients together, I knew I wanted to add MCT, because before starting Funky Fat Foods, I already added MCT into my coffees, to my morning coffees, to breakfast, to smoothies. And I feel so energized. And I think it's something that is just in my daily diet. So I wanted to add this into the chocolate bars. But then so when I had the ingredients, it was finding the right partner, a small chocolatier, to at least basically convince the company to make small samples. I didn't have a lot of money to invest a lot in a huge batch. And I also didn't know if it would work out or not. So luckily, back in Europe, I visited many chocolate fairs. I just shared my idea. I said, look, I want to create a functional low-carb chocolate bar with extra MCT. A lot of people didn't know about this. They said, but you need sugars or you need milk to add it into the chocolate bars. But then eventually I found the chocolatier that I had my first samples with. We could produce small quantities. And with this, I had my first minimal viable product to share.
So you mentioned MCT. What is MCT?
Yeah, so MCT is a medium chain triglycerides, and it's found in coconut oil, and it is a fatty acid and a short chain, meaning that it just absorbs directly, and that's why you it's basically absorbed directly, so you get an instant energy boost out of it. And we used MCT C8, C10, and to the chocolate bars, it makes it more creamy, but also all the feedback that we get from our customers is they feel like if they are basically on cloud nine, and you just get energy, but sustainable energy. And that's what we want, right? Like, we don't want to have these sugar spikes. I remember before I started like the low carb diet or a keto diet, I just was constantly hungry, and then you eat something, and then after 40 minutes you feel like, oh, I can eat again, never satisfied. And that's for me really the healthy fats. And that's also one of the reasons why we call it funky fat foods, because we're all about promoting healthy fats.
Definitely. So you started the business. So you mentioned that your bar is functional, which I'm assuming has a certain meaning, meaning that it's people use it for a certain function, I assume. But is it also
Yes.
was there other criteria around, like the bars have to taste a certain way, or they have to be for people to be able to buy them again and again, it has to be a good tasting bar, or it has to be a certain price point? Like, how did you really create the product from a business perspective, so that and I don't know if you did any market research to see what was already available in the market. How did you, like, in terms of positioning this product, what was your research and criteria going to market?
I mean, back then, I already found through research that the keto low carb market was growing crazy in the US. So I knew there was a market for it. Then besides that, I knew there are many women facing or having PCOS. So basically, in terms of to make it, because yes, it's functional, so people get energy from it, they get no sugar spikes from it. It's the extra healthy fats that is good for their hormones, and this means men or women, and it's fantastic. A lot of people just want to enjoy it also, like after a workout for energy. So basically I knew, okay, we have to test it first, because I think it's nice to have something that everyone likes. Of course, that's nice. But we started really with a target audience and a niche to see, okay, if this audience likes it and they like it, you have your first ambassadors, then it can grow little by little, instead of just aim big and then you don't know where to shoot in that sense, right? So we first were just only keto. That's what our first aim was. Any person following a keto diet should know about funky fat foods. Back then, even 4 years ago, our company was called Keto Cacao. We changed it a couple of years later because we really thought it's the keto and it's the cacao, so Keto Cacao. But then later on, I realized there is way more to it, because it's just not like a keto diet. It's really also, for example, now what we see in terms of our sales points is that it's now already in the category free from section, like it's more the organic approach, the free from soy, the gluten free. So it's already more people that they're seeing the benefits of eating this chocolate bar compared to another chocolate bar. But definitely, going back to your question, I hope I answered correctly, is first we started really with a niche, which was the keto diet. And then from there, we had a kind of like a small following. And then by then we started to enlarge the audience a little bit more and to test also. I think it's until today, we're all constantly testing to see not only how we can improve our chocolate bars, we're innovative, we always want to improve, but also to see like how other people, or is there a type of target audience that we haven't thought of before? I'm sorry.
So you mentioned that, in terms of financial investment, you were going to, you said you didn't have a lot of money, but you were going to these fairs and you were, sharing your idea, and you started working with some smaller kitchens who can create this product. Can you share a little bit about, that, entrepreneurial hustle of not having enough, and, how did you actually convince people to invest, their time and effort in creating this product?
Yes. So basically, I showed also the chocolatier already the web shop that was created on Shopify. So it was already something like, look, this is going to be launched soon, and it's a completely new thing, but it's already happening in the US in terms of the keto diet. It's already huge. And we luckily, I also had family who was supporting me in terms of the research and development costs. So it wasn't, we were able to produce a small quantity of samples. And with this, I was able to showcase it on the first fair. Back then it was 2008, 2018, 2019, where we attended the chocolate fair in Amsterdam. And there it was just, we had a few hundred samples there, showcase it to the people. And it was not a keto fair, but I felt if at least the people that love chocolate love our chocolate bars, and then even on top of that, we can convince them it's much better than a sugary chocolate or chocolate that you basically is filled with artificial ingredients. And if they like it, then we're good to go. But I mean, this was an MVP, yeah? So it was just something that we started with to know, okay, what is the feedback overall? Do we need to change it? Do we need to, here and there, tweak a little bit the ingredients, tweak a little bit the recipe in order to really kind of continue. And I also want to mention that this is it's a thing that it's a cycle, because you produce a little bit of chocolate bars. Back then, I labeled everything myself. Back home with my mom and with my family, we just stickered all the chocolate bars. Then you're able to sell a little bit more. Then you can have maybe a nice deal with your chocolatier, saying like, look, I can maybe pay not this, like I can pay after delivery, or so you can here and there in terms of the cash flow. Have also deals with your distributor or your manufacturer to make sure like that you already sell before paying. I hope I understand. I hope I explained it well.
Definitely. How did you get your first customers? Like when was the moment when you put the product out there and someone actually paid to purchase it? Was it like friends and family first, or like did you get like a someone who didn't know about you actually purchase it?
Yes. So when I was back in Brazil, 2018, I already started with an Instagram account. So just with images that I found nice of a healthy lifestyle. If you want, I can send afterwards some images of our content back then, how it looked like. We were very, I would say, a bit bold. Eat fat, look good naked. Those kind of like statements we had. And it was very focused, more feminine, but on the, like, being shocking in a way. That was kind of like our communication. So before having any type of product, before having any web shop, I already started with an Instagram account just to get already some followers. And then you can share like, oh, we're coming soon, stay tuned. We had a subscriber list on the website after that. Also no product yet. So people could subscribe to the newsletter to stay tuned. So we did that. And then it was not expensive to participate at the chocolate fair that I set in Amsterdam. And that's where the first time I just showcased the product. Of course, I shared it before with friends and family, never sold it to friends. But this is in a time frame of just a few months before just going to the market. I have, and I think a lot of my family and friends will agree on this, I have no patience. I'm working on this. So for me, I think it's always good to just go out there and share and see if people like it or not. And feedback is always so helpful. So if people don't like it, to get this feedback, to listen, because you can sit at home working on your product to make it perfect. But when is it perfect? And sometimes when you're working on making it perfect, it's maybe already too late. So for me, when it's already that I'm feeling, oh, this tastes good, I'm putting it in the market.
In terms of the business itself or the business model, can you share a little bit about, how do you, where do you source the ingredients from? Who creates it? Is it all like everything is completely automated now, and you're basically, making the purchase orders and getting the products delivered to you? And what were the considerations from a business perspective of, this is my cost and this is the cost that the consumer should pay, and this would also work as a good price point in the market, so that you're making enough profit margin to sustain the business.
So first question is, well, we are focused really on marketing, but it's our brand and our recipe. We work with a contract manufacturer who produces for us, very good relationship with them. And this is something that is very nice because we can on a daily basis also work on development and on innovative new products that we're working on at the moment. Price point wise, well, as we are still a small company, we, of course, then you buy all the ingredients. These are higher. Our ingredients on top of that are organic certified. So that is also a price to pay. We knew that from the beginning. I knew I don't want to create a brand or a product that I don't stand behind. Like, I really want to create something I'm proud of. So I knew ingredients are number one. And for example, adding organic MCT to your chocolate bars, it's not the cheapest thing to do, right? You can go easily for soy or all those cheap fillers, but I'm not here to create something that I don't want to share with my family, that I don't want to eat myself, nor do I want to sell something for customers that is actually not good for you. So that was a bit challenging, because at what price points is it still, like margin wise good for the company? And that's still until today. We're testing the European market. We're currently only available in Europe and in the UK. And I think we have covered a price point now where it is interesting still for us to continue, but also just based on customers' feedback. I mean, we ask a lot to our distributors, is this a good price point? We see other chocolate bars with the same quantity, kind of similar to not go to an extent where it's a completely different, completely different price point.
I mean, your business is great in one sense that it can probably be a good subscription kind of a model.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you share a little bit? Yeah, do you find that the customers, like, or what percentage of customers actually convert to a subscription model? Is that something that you focus quite a bit on? Because that could really be a big driver for your business, right? If most of your customers who buy convert to subscription, that's like a recurring revenue.
Yes, we started with the subscription model, I would say before summer, so not long time ago. I don't have the actual data yet, but it's working in the sense of that we get, especially from our early customers, our early adapters, who think that, oh, that's super convenient, so they do the subscription box. And also because otherwise you just forget. Chocolate is not something that you think of on a, well, I do, but not everyone thinks of chocolate on a daily basis. But so subscription model is fantastic. And I can't wait really to have this on a bigger scale in Europe, but also in the US. I think it would be fantastic to offer a subscription model, but we definitely see here growth with it. We use an amazing, it's a integrated system in Shopify. It's called Recharge. We use this for our subscription models, super easy to use. We don't have until now we don't have any complaints about this model. I think it's something very interesting to add in any type of business such as this in food or product wise.
What is your role in the business? I don't know, maybe I should ask, how many team members? Is it like a solo business where you're doing, like, you're wearing multiple hats, or do you have other team members who are helping out?
No.
Also?
So we're now with a team of 5, and actually we like to have this focus just with 5 because we have for every type of role a person. We have a social media manager, brand manager, a sales manager. My sales manager is really focused on distribution, so more the bigger clients, I would say B2B, and I'm more focused on kind of more like working with the marketing team, but also still sales for smaller companies. So we do, and we do with our business B2C and B2B.
And B2B, I'm assuming it's more of a sales driven, whereas B2C is more of a marketing driven. Is it that way?
Yes, but I mean B2C on our own web shop, and for example, we manage our own Amazon accounts, and we work with third parties that also have like a retailer website. So I would definitely say that B2C is also sales driven, but B2C is way more, for example, more communicating and informative content that we share a lot.
In a business like this, where you're selling like your value proposition is geared towards a certain lifestyle in a way, right? It's like keto specific, maybe health regimen or lifestyle, where the consumer or the market is already aware of this diet form, and so I'm assuming there's not a lot of education that you have to do when you say it's high fat. I think the people who follow this, they can instantly recognize what this is and what the benefit and things like this. But as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, when you think about growing your business, what do you think is your bottleneck in terms of getting more people to buy from your? Is it really marketing? Like, is it really about coming up with different ideas, unique ideas to get the word out there, get the brand out there so that more people can see it and recognize the value proposition and come and buy from you?
Yes, I think one of the things that we are working on currently is really the brand awareness, the product positioning, how to, what you say also, it's a good point, so people understand what are the benefits, why do I have to eat this chocolate bar? For the moment, it's just the chocolate bars that we have, and we're working on new products as well. Always healthy snacks focused on healthy fats, and it's really the storytelling. So making sure that the customer understands why he or she needs to eat this, the benefits of it. But then the other point is also the I would say research and development, that if you're still with a team, a small team, you have to put your priorities, right? So you have to know, okay, in which time are we focusing on new products? And this sometimes is, because we have a lot of, we're very ambitious and we want to make something that we, as I said earlier, are super proud of, and not something that just another protein bar or just another product. So this is something, to make sure that you have the right ingredients, to make sure that you're focusing on the right new product, but also again, just the whole positioning your brand, how to communicate properly, to understand for everyone the USPs of this bar, of the current chocolate bars. Yeah, these are always something that we are constantly working on.
Are you in stores in Europe or store chains?
Yes.
And is that like a big thing? Do you find that that's really going to drive success for this one if it's available in the mainstream stores and available more easily to people?
Absolutely, and that's something that in the beginning we started really as a keto brand. Now more people are aware of the importance of healthy fats, but also the bad side of sugars. They understand, and I think also Corona here helped a lot with this, because it's understanding that good and healthy lifestyle, it's just not something that you just do for a while. You really want to have this as a lifestyle. And if you then can eat snacks that are actually good for you, delicious, and at the same time nutritious, it's really good. And it's something that we will only see more of in retail stores, 100%. And this is this is meaning for Funky Fat Foods, but this is for any brand out there. I can only see way more of good products, honest products, real ingredients. I can see that in the real supermarkets and retail.
So as you said, there's more awareness about this kind of a thing in the market. Do you also find you're having more competition? Like, have you seen other similar brands come up who are offering similar kind of products or with a similar kind of value proposition?
Yes, now over the 4 years, there has been some competitors. And I mean, it also shows the growth into this interest, right? So I think it's also you can always see that as something negative, competition, but I see it definitely as something that it means there is a market for, and there is a growing market in terms of health. And as I said earlier, the free from gluten, free from soy, and more people are getting aware of the issues people have with eating too much vegetable oil, stuff like that. With this, it's growing a lot, and people are way more aware of what they put into their body, and they're way more aware of reading the back labels and understanding the ingredients. And I think like a lot of brands are understanding this as well, and I think it's something amazing that there shouldn't be just brands out there, the big brands just filling everything with shitty ingredients. No, I think still that there's now room for a lot of new companies, new brands that have a purpose really to help people and to make something that is good, that is actually healthy.
Definitely. In terms of your customer acquisition, can you share a little bit about, how your marketing has evolved since you started? What kind of marketing? I know you have social media presence. Do you do like paid advertising? And what kind of marketing really works well in terms of your customer acquisition?
For customer acquisition, B2B, for example, we use LinkedIn on a daily basis. I think LinkedIn is an amazing platform to use. It helps a lot for us. And then more B2C, yes.
Sorry, if I can interrupt
yes.
you. So you said LinkedIn is a very useful tool. Can you share like what exactly you're using on LinkedIn? Is it like the sales navigator, which is useful for you, or is it like really just finding
it's
new
interesting
companies?
because we started with sales with a monitor like this, but then we realized that just going first country per country or city per city, and then just go to the companies in certain areas, then you can already filter it yourself in LinkedIn. And for the moment, our sales director and I are doing everything still manually, where we look for companies, and it's not just sending a bunch of emails right away. We prefer to really look at the company and see if this can be a match or not. And I feel this helps. This is way more effective because it's actually companies that we really want to work with, and we have looked at them. We know their vision. We know the other type of brands that they are supporting. So for us, it's really going first just to look at on Google and then narrow down on LinkedIn and target it on LinkedIn. That's for B2B at least. And I mean, sending private messages already to a category manager, for example, those things can help. And you learn a lot because it's also creating a little bit of a buzz around your own LinkedIn profile helps as well.
So you're basically using, for B2B, you're using LinkedIn. Have you tried like, just out of curiosity if this works or not, something like a tool like Zoom Info or something, which is like made specifically for like a B2B prospecting list and things like that?
Yes, we have started with that, and we want to use it, implement it again for this year for sure.
Is that better compared to LinkedIn, or is it different?
I think it's just a matter of like everything is a matter of like that they for us, LinkedIn for the moment has worked really well. So now we are kind of like want to be skilled in this to add different tools or like switch to a different software.
Okay. And sorry, I interrupted you for the B2C. You were going to talk about the B2C side also for the customer acquisition.
Yes. So what we love is really to help people live a healthy and enjoyable lifestyle, right? So this obviously is because of our chocolate bars that we share this, But another very important thing that I want to mention is that we also do this by sharing informative content. We do on a weekly basis, we have podcasts with experts on our podcast, but also Instagram lives, on our blog. And this is not something, because we don't want to have people just being like, okay, this is the diet you need to follow, like this is it. No, what we want to do is really like sharing content for people that they get question, like they question about the lifestyle. So it's like we should have either a vegan person on the show, or a carnivore. We want to have people that they are curious, because curiosity is so important. So we also get eventually, because we, for example, with email marketing, with a blog, with a podcast, this eventually leads also to a sale, because people are interested, of course, in the product. But the main focus is really to inform people, and then at the end, it's a sort of customer acquisition. And then yes, the whole Facebook ads and stuff like that we also do.
And does that work well for you, the ad side of business?
Yes, Facebook ads works really well, especially because for the moment we only focus on the European market, but we see that it's something definitely that's working. And also we like platforms or apps that are basically were created in Corona. What is it? Gorillas, for example. We are with them, and this is something also that is a great way of marketing, because it's a online supermarket app basically, and people can easily, they see their chocolate bars, and for example, we only sell it per pack of 10, which of course sometimes if you haven't tried the product, it's quite costly. But then with an app like this, you just order one bar and you have it at home in 15 minutes. These kind of collaborations with companies work really well.
Yeah, I've actually interviewed similar food bar companies, of course, very different kind of bar. And I think one of the strategies that they use as in terms of like getting customers into the funnel is something similar to what you described, but I think they make like one bar available as a trial bar. And I think it's very like they offer it as a very inexpensive option that someone can buy to try it out. And I think, once you try something out,
Yes.
so that is something that I've seen. Have you ever thought about doing something like that?
Yes, no, we have, for example, the variety pack on our that we offer on our shop. And this is a great way for people just to try all the bars at once. I mean, you get all the bars in one, and then you can try your favorites. And what we do with physical stores, they have it, especially in the beginning, where we do sampling and stuff like that to try it in a more easy way to try it out.
In every business person's journey, there's always mistakes made, failures, lessons learned. By the way, how much time did it take you from like having the idea to actually launching the business and getting your first customer? Do you know?
I think it was like almost 1 year.
1 year. Okay.
Like having the idea towards the first product. And the first product looked completely different. It was called keto cacao. We had 2 flavors, a hazelnut one and just a dark one. We have 5 flavors. It was just something that, I wanted to launch as soon as possible, because I really wanted to know, is this actually something that is possible to sell? Are more people looking for a alternative healthy chocolate bar, and not just chocolates and associate chocolate with being unhealthy, because it really isn't. Cacao is an amazing product. Looking
back, like, do you ever think, because sometimes, I think, I'm also thinking about like different e-commerce ideas and things like that. And when I'm thinking, it's like, okay, I have an idea, but if I really want to implement it, I have to do research. I have to find, if there's a need and things like this. Looking back at your own journey, could you have done something different that would have, accelerated your speed to market? Like, rather than taking it 1 year, you could have, had understood if this is something that's actually going to sell in the market. Absolutely. I did first, we did only like contacting
So for example, when you have, now and with an online business, the world in that sense is kind of like your marketplace. You can sell anywhere. But what we did was in Europe, where we focused, for example, on a specific country, and then we contacted each shop individually. And I think you will grow faster if you, in the beginning, as a startup, focus on just making as many distribution deals as possible, just to have a bigger scale at once and also decrease your cost through bigger production runs.
The question I was asking you, in every entrepreneur's journey, there's always mistakes made, lessons learned, failures. Is there one or two big mistakes or failures that come to your mind in your own journey? What did you learn from it, and what other entrepreneurs can learn from your mistakes and failures?
Yeah, so what I mentioned now is just really that we back then didn't focus on getting distribution deals as much as possible. We just focused on contacting shops individual, and it can lead to a lot. It can lead time. It's a lot of time where you also don't have cash flow. And I think if you already start with distribution deals as much as possible, then to really create a bigger scale at once. And this helps really to reduce your cost, because we had a lot of cost for production runs. So if you can already have bigger deals with distribution deals, you can eventually also have a decrease in your cost for the production. So this is something we see this as a definitely big learning that we could have done differently. I would also say waiting too long for the perfect product. Better to launch a product that you believe in, test it out quickly, have an MVP, test it out. If it's not good, put it back, modify it, and then share it again into the market.
Just a point on that distribution point that you mentioned. It's when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs who are just starting out, they many times run into this dilemma. It's kind of a chicken and egg, right? So in order for you to get distribution, you have to, in a way, show that your product is capable of selling, right? If somebody wants to promote your product or sell your product, they want to see some sort of a proof. How would you deal with that? Like when you're just starting out, you don't have that proof. How do you get distribution when someone is looking at what is this thing?
No, totally. I think it's one of the things that can help a distributor is that you show like, okay, we, for example, in our case, we are very active in terms of marketing activities. If we need to make flyers, if we need to design any type of marketing materials, that's not a problem. To also have a monthly or weekly, even if that's needed, meetings with the distributor. So these are kind of like things that we just showcase. It's also, I have to say, it's also a little bit of that distributor has to take a leap of faith and to believe into the product. If they like it themselves, the product, and they want to be one of the first leaders to have this product, then it's also most of the times it works, and it's something that they want to just test it out. You can also easily say, look, test it out for 6 months, see how it works. But with the distributor, you are on a close contact to give any type of marketing materials to help in any way possible. That's something at least what we try to do with distribution deals.
That makes a lot of sense. So now I'm going to move on to our rapid fire segment. And in this segment, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, and you have to answer them maybe in one word or one sentence. And so the first one is one book recommendation that you would make for entrepreneurs or business professionals, and why?
Yes. So one book is Building a StoryBrand by Donald Miller. And it really basically takes you towards the steps you can take to make sure people see you, hear you, and understand your product. And this is something I just read this year. And I was like, why did I not read this before? Because it really clears out your message, and you can scream a lot about your products. I mean, I love what we've created, and I can tell 100 things about how amazing it is, but people don't have time. And they also, prefer to just understand what's in it for them, right? And not just like, oh, because you created this because of, no, it's what is it for them? Why does a customer wants this? And make it as simple as possible. And in the beginning, back like a few years ago, we had a lot of information and maybe too much information, and people get confused, right? And then another book I definitely want to recommend is Think Like a Monk by Shetty. I love all his content. I mean, I listen to his podcast every day, but his book, it deals a lot with negativity, because if you're a startup, I hear until today still every day, no, 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 no. And you have to deal with this negativity and deal with this, that it's turn it around, right? So it's not something that I hope people that are listening to this and want to start a business, that you just feel like, oh, it's never going to happen. Please be patient and use this negativity as something positive. And it this book really gives a lot of peace and mindfulness thinking, and use this negativity as something powerful. Because in business, if you start a business, it's not only going up, it's a lot of things and a lot of stress and a lot of disappointment. So this book is definitely a must read for this piece during your journey. And the journey is amazing, and I think people always tell me this, so I hope it's something that I will see. It's that the journey is very nice and not only the end goal.
Definitely. An innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about?
Yeah, so I'm actually I just ordered it because I'm super, and I really want to mention this. It's the Tone, the Tone breath ketone device from Vanessa Spina, and her website is ketogenicgirl.com. And basically, it's a tone device that you can measure your acetone. It's a biomarker for fat burning. I love this type of products. So it basically displays a number of the amount of acetone you have into your body, so you can also track your progress. I think that it's super cool.
Very interesting. A business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend, or a productivity tip that you use?
Yes. So one of the things that we are using literally on a daily basis is, so I mentioned LinkedIn, but we are a huge fan of Pipedrive. It's a CRM system. This is where our sales director and I have, we can follow each other. We know exactly what the deal is. We know exactly what the email communication, if there was a call or not, or the amount of the order or whatsoever. This is something, at least for me, that is fantastic to use. We use Slack also on a daily basis for communication within the team. Great also to, if you work a lot with freelancers like we do, this is great because you just can add them easy to the Slack conversation and have all one common communication app, basically. And what I also want to mention is a productivity tool, I would say, is that I am already a long time using or doing the breath work of Wim Hof. He is, to me, an amazing guru, I would almost say, with breath work. And it's even on YouTube. It's for free. I found it fantastic that these things are for free. It's breath work, and it helps a lot for creativity and for clearing the minds. And I think this is something definitely that people should use more in a daily. It's a meditation way, basically.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've definitely heard of Wim Hof method. A startup or business that you think is currently doing great things?
Yes, we love with our team. We love Olipop. It's a brand from the US, a soda brand. We love it. I think it's making something that is like a soda with that statement of being unhealthy and making it to a prebiotic and make it healthy. This is something with our chocolates that we do. I mean, it's a chocolate brand that most people, chocolate always is associated with, oh, it's unhealthy, it's bad for you, and to, swip it and replace it for something good with actual benefits and beneficial ingredients. So we love their marketing and branding. And then another brand I want to mention is Magic Spoon. Same kind of idea, but then doing it with cereals.
That's awesome. Last question. Best business advice you ever received or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
It's from my dad, and he always reminds me every day, please never stop being curious. Always be curious, keep on learning, ask questions. Don't just take information just as it is, like question the information and research and be curious.
That's awesome. Thank you, Louisa. Those were all the questions that I had. Really appreciated you sharing.
Thank you so much. I hope it was not too blurry and I know I can be sometimes just all over the place.
No, it was perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time, for sharing your story, for sharing your business.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise.